Hi, my name is Jeff Furlotte, and welcome to our channel, Being Human. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Jeff Furlotte. I work in the field of addiction recovery. I'm a case manager, group facilitator, recovery coach, basically a jack of all trades. I wear a lot of hats, although I'm not wearing one right now. I work directly with my colleagues that are part of this channel, Being Human. Dr. Maswick and Christopher Casagrande. So let's get right down to it. If anybody out there knows anything about forest fires, they're usually caused naturally by a buildup of dead branches that dry up and heat takes over and lightning takes over. There's a lot of variables that will happen. When this happens, the dried leaves and the branches that were released by the trees will ignite, and they'll cause a fire. I like fire. Something kind of magical happens in nature that when all of this dies down, that the nutrients that are released from the charcoal, and anybody that knows anything about fertilization, all of these dead nutrients turn into food. They've utilized the past versions of self or things that don't work for them anymore to help them grow. And like the trees, humans are the same way. If you have past traumatic experiences, let's say something happened to you when you were a kid, you grew up in a household that was very difficult, there's abuse, sexual trauma, all of these kind of things, while horrible, there's not much that can be done with that anymore, except the learning process. Anytime an animal, which we are animals, walks into a situation, let's say a squirrel eats a berry and then they get violently ill from it. If they survive the process, then the squirrel's not going to eat that berry anymore. Same thing with humans. In a way, it's a metaphor to kind of take a look at that and say, well, here's a traumatic experience. We can either grow from it or we can suffer from it. Nature allows these things to happen to kind of move things forward. The old things that don't work for us anymore nurture our roots. We do grow taller. We grow stronger. And that's how we're going to get through life. Getting stuck and never ever moving forward is part of the major psychological problems that most people have nowadays. You've heard the old saying, those that don't remember the past are doomed to repeat it. Well, some of those past experiences can be horrible, but if we learn from them, then the chances of those things happening have a tendency to be minimized. Here's an example. A client will come into my place of work and their idea is, oh, I want to get sober. I want to get sober. Okay, well, that's why they walked in the door. It's not important to me how they got there as it is what happens while they're there. Once you hit that place of change, once nature takes over, if you don't respond to it properly, chances are you're going to stay stuck in the vicious cycle. That happens to a lot of people. It's the main reason why most people will relapse is because, yeah, getting sober, okay, well, if you've stopped drinking or using and gone through the detox process that a lot of people go through, the next step is to, what do I do now? What's the thing I need to do? Sometimes I feel that it's better to, instead of saying, I want to be sober, I want to learn how to live. That's really what they're saying. How do I live without this thing I've relied upon for so long? And that's the funny thing about our brains, is we have a tendency to just sort of go against change and not allow these things to happen. And maintaining long-term sobriety can be difficult for a lot of people, but if that is your goal, it's not really difficult if your goal is to stay sober for the rest of your life, that puts a lot of pressure on people. So are you sober today? And that's the focus, one day at a time, that kind of stuff. That's really important, and it's a good way to look at things. So how do we get there? Well, the mindset is really important. If you understand that all these things that you've been through in the past, pointing at all of the traumatic experiences that don't actually exist anymore except in thought, because what is memory but thought carried through time? In a sense, if you could take those experiences and use them to help you grow stronger, like the burning of the deadwood, the possibilities of moving forward and learning from it and ascending to a higher level to a sense of clarity is a little bit easier when you focus on the fact that not your pain, not the fire, not the loss, but what's to be gained from it. Use those things to move you forward in life. And it's going to be a lot easier for you when you focus more on the mindset of this is change, this is what I need to do. And don't make excuses along the way. First of all, that's the ego. Decide what you want to do. Make your decisions of how you're going to go about those things, and surround yourself with the people that are going to support you in that thing. If you have a family and maybe they don't understand it, well, that's okay. It's your choice. It's what you want to do. You're the tree. You're the one that has to grow. In this particular case, working in the field that I work in, and Dr. Maz and Chris, we discuss these things all the time, but we don't talk about addiction, that the addiction's not really the problem. The problem is your inability to tolerate your own internal turmoil. You don't necessarily have to tolerate it. Just accept it for what it is. It's not reality. We can get into a discussion about reality, but thought is just imagination. Well, this happened to me when I was a kid. Yeah, okay, a lot of shit happens to people when they're kids. But that kind of thing doesn't exist after the occurrence, only here. So your brain is funny because it'll imprint on the hippocampus that this is a thing and this was traumatic and I don't know what to do about it. And there isn't much you can do about it except learn from it. And that's really what this whole thing of understanding being a human is about. We've been giving this incredible gift of consciousness, but it's a touchy thing. Not everybody handles it properly. Take a look around in the world. But it's significant for you to learn from those experiences, like burning away the old self, because once you decide to go on a path and go on this journey, we have a way of figuring these things out. But unless we understand how to utilize these tools that are available to us, we spin around in a circle. We don't know. And that's what we're hoping to help you with along this journey. So I urge you to give yourself a break. Learn how to stop when things are getting out of control. As I like to say, test your brakes. Your gut tells you that it's the right thing to do, and it's positive, and it's only going to make life better. Then just do it. And stop getting caught up here about it. Because this is all bullshit up here. The amount of thoughts that go through our head are extraordinary. So be aware of that. So hopefully this was helpful to you, this discussion, and we're going to have many more of them. But I just wanted to give you a taste of where we're going with this kind of thing. So in the meantime, please take care of yourself, treat yourself well, and give yourself a break, because you're a human being. We all are, and we're trying to figure it out. So thanks a lot.